What's up, gang? It is I, Carlton Flowers, your crypto pro.
Yay!
And tonight we are going to take a look at the OMI one-day chart. I have not done a technical analysis update of the OMI token for months. Why? Well, number one, when I said that this is a set it and forget it project, I meant it. I have 1,500,000 and change of OMI tokens. I bought primarily with gains from another swing trade. Therefore, I don't look at the OMI price chart every day, much less even once a week, because I'm not worried about it. If there is any one token that I'm holding that I'm not going to touch for years to come, it's going to be this one. My tendency is to buy and sell within several weeks to months or maybe a year or at two tops, and that's a mistake. It's the people who hold for the long term that can cash out the biggest gains, especially when you wait for a complete market cycle to take place and sell at a high point. Now, looking at this chart, let me tell you what I see, and I have the OBV indicator instead of the MACD. That's this bottom line here, and I'll explain that. It's on balance volume, and I'll tell you why I've got that one listed and not the stochastic. I meant the MACD and not the MACD. Upstairs on the price chart, we can see that I have three green rectangular boxes. Here's one, here's two, and here's three. These are important. They represent former resistance and support price points. So these are zones where we see a lot of confluence in the price action, and they can tell us what we can expect in the short term and also in the long term. Maybe medium term at best. We were flying high about a month or two ago. Let's scrunch this down so I can see that high price there. We had this peak where we were above the 0.0082 price point. And I tell you what, my bag was looking pretty good when we were flying high at that price. But then we had this double top. Here's the first peak and then a lower high. And then a lot of whipsawing and side banding. And then we pretty much have fallen off here recently and are following pretty much all of the alts. The action across the board on the alts has been ugly. Now, a lot of people are losing hope and are very worried. I'm not. I can tell you what I think is that this is really not that bad of a chart. I came in back here. Let's see, where is my price point? I bought in at 0.00269. So it's below, I think, right here at this point. And it's not on this chart. This is just the chart that has the data from the time that the OMI token was listed on, what was it, Bitforex? I can't remember which exchange that this chart is based on. Oh, OKEX, when it was listed on OKEX. And before that point, we did not have the ability to look at the OMI chart on TradingView. So this has been great that we have data that goes all the way back to September of 2021 to look at this price action. Actually, almost into August there. So here's the point where I bought in, right there. And then we formed this new support level right here that is based on the price of 0.003. That, to me, is a very important support level. And right now we're sailing right down towards it. So we had the quick flash crash and recovery right here where we fell straight out of the bottom of this middle support and resistance zone. And that was kind of scary, but we had a quick recovery only to fail the middle support and zone the next time. Now, looking at the history of this is why I have these boxes here. We had this quick spike here, we wicked out, and then we had resistance. We banged our head here and came back down. But when we came down, we formed a higher low. So that support here makes the upper limit of this bottom rectangular box. Then we soared up and we made another higher high. we wicked out, and then we bounced around between the limits of this next box, as you can see, breaking out at this point and hitting the all-time high. Actually, that's not the all-time high because we were above that on the last run. I can't remember if it was late summer or early summer or late spring, but at one point I think we were even higher than 0.0082. Now, whenever we came off of this double top with this lower high, we actually violated this upper support resistance zone, but then it snapped itself right back up, and then we fell off it again right here and came back down to the next line, which is the top of the middle zone, and it found support. So it moved back up at that point. So here we jumped up into the next zone, and then it was support again. So we had some ascending highs, and then this was really weird how we broke the support, but we didn't stay there long. It didn't even go down and test the next zone. We just jumped up and hit this next peak, which was about the same as the peak before that. And then this was a lower high. We touched wicking down to the upper zone and moved up to this lower high. And then this time we just came crashing straight through it and did not respect that first upper zone. We tested out, bouncing around here in the secondary zone, and then we just failed it here. So now we're waiting to see where we find, where we find support. Now, it's either going to happen right now at 0.0034 roughly, or it's going to happen at 0.003. Chances are we're not going to hold this 0.0034 if the market continues to go down. It's all depending on what BTC does, and I don't think BTC is ready to have a breakout. I think with the economy going into recession, there's a chance that Bitcoin could continue sidebanding, or we could have a short bear market before the next cycle starts. I'm starting to think that this current cycle is done, that the peak that we had previously was the market cycle peak. I don't know if we're going to come out of this and just head straight to 120, 140,000. I don't know. What could happen is a short recession, because we know that the last time we had a recession in 2008, the government did not allow us to stay in it long before bailing it completely out, destroying interest rates, and snatching us out of recession in only 2 months. I don't know if this recession is going to be that short, but it might not be that long. And if that's the case, the crypto market is probably going to enter into the next complete cycle soon after we find out if Bitcoin is going to find a new bottom, maybe dipping down to 29,000 before we start that next process. Now, here are the possibilities for what could happen with the OMI token. And right now, the stochastic is very bearish. We're down here in the oversold zone, and we have a straight trajectory with the fast line and the slow line with no indication of the fast line kind of curving in to do one of these numbers and cross over the slow line. It's still just pointing straight down, which means that we're probably not going to hold the top of this support resistance zone. We'll at least find the bottom of it here. Now, on balance volume, the reason why I have this is to show you that from way back here, from this point, this was the sum total of the accumulation and distribution going on with the token. On balance volume is an approximation of overall accumulation or selling. It's not exact. It's based on some funky formula where you take the average of so many previous candles, and if it's a green or a red, you add or subtract to the line. But in general, they can kind of give us an idea, and sometimes all they do is follow the price line. This OMI token here with just this much data is kind of just following the price line. But if we're going to trust this as an overall indication of whether we're still in accumulation or distribution, I would say it's healthy, because notice that from beginning to end, starting at this point at 0.0027-ish, or even right here at this low point where we previously were at 0.003, we're at a higher point right now. So overall, even though we've dipped, we've been bouncing between these two green arrows here. where there's more accumulation going on than distribution. So here's your price action as it's going up and down. We're seeing that overall, maybe there's more accumulation than distribution. And I would say that's fairly accurate because you probably had a lot of people that were selling their tokens that have been in since day one, a lot of the developers and people on the founding team. So whenever you see these dips happen, whenever we have a run, they can sell into that run. And after that, we start to correct a little bit. And this could be happening right here. But overall, I think we're looking good. And if we do happen to violate the bottom of this support resistance zone, it's a buying opportunity. I'll probably grab some more if I have the money. Right now, money is a little tight because I have so much in other crypto projects that are way down, and I'm trying to save as much as I can. So if we get that BTC capitulation, I'll be able to load up and start the DCA process if we hit that 29,000. And if it goes lower than that, I'll just keep buying bits and pieces more. So there's really not much more we can tell out of this one-day chart. If we flip this to the 1 week chart, let's see if we can flip this to 1 week. I'm going to have to move myself here. There's the 1 week. There's not much you can see here. So even on the 1 week, the stochastics are looking very bearish. But then the good news is we're at the bottom of this market cycle. So we have this nice big M, okay? And if we find this bottom down here, once this movement is done and we reach that bottom somewhere in this zone, then we'll probably start the next cycle up, which I would assume would eclipse these previous two peaks right here. Now the OBV, I don't trust this on this 1 day chart because it's just completely mirroring the price. I don't think that overall there's more dumping going on with the token than accumulation, so we can't trust that. The next time that I do an OMI chart report, I'm going to jump back to Bit4X that has more of a complete history, just less indicators. It's not as easy to see as the trading view chart, but we'll try to see if we can determine the even bigger picture that would have a lot of the previous price data here that would kind of show us that once we come from this zone where we were below 2, I started watching it when it was below 2, and then I bought in. Here's the 0.0027 range about right there. Overall, we're still moving up. So here's our complete trend line right here. So if we can kind of stick to the bottom, if it's like this, we're still good. But we do notice this volume node right there at 0.00299, just under 3. These volume nodes tend to attract price. So right now with the stochastic looking that bearish, there's a good chance, our highest probability is that we meet this node right here. And then maybe that's the bottom. And if it is, we can check into these other nodes and try to fight our way back up to this point of control price on the overall action and then move upward from there. Well, that's all I got. I didn't want to make this into a marathon session, but in this big picture, I like what I'm seeing. I'm not worried. I'm putting this back in the hope chest for later on, and I'm not going to worry about it. But I will come back here in the next few days with the Bit4X chart and get one more view for you. So if you have any questions about this, please let me know in the comments. And like, comment, and subscribe if you would. And thanks for joining me for these 13 minutes and 54 seconds. This is Carlton, and I am out.